Welcome to Reginaldesq. I'm Underhook and this is my review of the Tier 5 French SPG, or artillery, the AMX13AM. So is this tank any good? No, it's disgustingly awful. It's really bad. Now, I had a good crew in it. In fact, the crew is now in this tank. This is the next one after that. Thankfully, this one is actually pretty good. But I've got Chuck Norris as my commander, and I've got a bunch of these sort of, the Snow Maiden ones that I've inherited over the years. And so they've all got brothers in arms, and they've got skills. It's a good crew, right? So it's not the crew. And they were fully trained. I've got a gun laying drive, gun rammer, and I've got the exhaust thing for camouflage, but it's pretty pointless. But anyway, there's nothing wrong with that. But the tank is awful. What's wrong with it? Terrible splash radius, 1.91 meters. High gun velocity, really hard to hit anything or get shots on anything, because anything that's anywhere near cover, you can't hit it. And unless you get a direct hit, it does no damage, like completely zero. Well, actually not completely zero. I had some tanks that I missed and it said that I damaged the tank, but it took off no hit points and did no crit damage. I think it would only matter if it would probably reset cap, but that's it. Otherwise, there's no actual physical damage. I've never done any damage in this without getting a direct hit. Now, the other thing is, the first gun, in my opinion, is better than the second gun. So, on paper, the second gun is better. 410 damage versus 445, 27 pen versus 30 pen, 12.9 loading versus 14, so it's a slower loading gun, the second one. And dispersion is quite a bit better, 0.69 versus 0.74. However, in reality, you can't hit anything with the second gun. It felt to me like it had a higher velocity, the shell in the second gun. Now, it is a longer barrel when you actually have it on the tank, so in theory that should give you a higher velocity, but I don't think World of Tanks factors that in. I think it's just based on the ammunition. So I don't know what was happening there, but I couldn't hit anything with the second gun, and I sometimes hit things with the first gun. So, yeah. I'm just going to show you now the tank comparison. There's going to be no gameplay because it is that terrible. Okay, if you don't believe me, I'll go into my clan chat here and I'll show you how terrible this is. Okay. Underhook, here it is, me. So I just got mastery in the AMX13AM with only 644 XP. What a horrible little SPG. Then one of my clanmates, Pyro, comes back later on and says, "Hey Hookie, got you beat. Just got ace on the 13AM with 627 base XP." Now normally, you probably all know this, but it normally takes 1100 to 1200 XP to get master in a tank. It takes more on a lot of tier 10 tanks, but this sort of tier, 1100, 1200 normally gets you mastery. So 600, what do you get? 627. So that tells you the story of this tank, I think. Anyway, let's have a quick look at a tank comparison, and then that'll be it for this video. On to the comparison. Now, I've got the tank that we're looking at, the AMX13 on the left, and on the far right is the only premium tank at this tier. I won't compare the premium until right at the end because that's disgustingly overpowered. But anyway, our tank here has a DPM of 1900, which is in theory the best. But our penetration isn't good, it's only 30. And I've got 27 because I'm using the first gun. The Bishop has 28. The others all have 38. So the others are pretty decent. Damage of 445. I think I've got 420 or something on the gun I'm using. But 445 is not bad. With that pen, it's not great, but But the other ones here in the green, you can see 600, 540, 550. They're a lot better. The Bishop has the same problem as us. Rate of fire is very good though, 13.42 seconds to reload. We've got 30 seconds and 22, 23 on these other ones. So good reload speed, so is the Bishop. The explosion radius is probably one of the big problems though, 1.91 meters, which is why you do no damage unless you get a direct hit. Even if you land within that 2 meters, there just isn't enough power in the shells to do anything to any of the tanks in the game. 2.2 meters on Bishop is in the same boat as us, although it has one advantage over us. 7 for the rest, which is a pretty decent splash radius for tier 5. The caliber of the gun is low as well, so overmatching, anyway, forget about that. Shell velocity, 435 is the highest in the group, which means that we have, well, in artillery, shell velocity is what really gives you accuracy. And so 435 means we're the least accurate, and we can also shoot at the least number of targets because we don't have as many targets to pick from because we can't shoot over obstacles as well as some of the others. The Bishop is the best with 270, but the Bishop has the trade-off of, well, it says 10,000 here, but it always used to have a 500 meter maximum range. I think it still does. So you have to be fairly close to your enemies in the Bishop, and so it has a trade-off. So fair enough that it has a really good gun arc. But the grill is really good with 355, and 430 isn't too bad. Well, actually 430 is not too good, but 355 is really good, and the 410 is, you know, at least a bit better. But then again, they do big damage when they hit, so they should really be the worst. But you know, so yeah, pretty terrible. We do have plenty of ammo though at 50, and the SU-122A only has 18. I think I remember running out of ammo when I reviewed that tank. Aim time of 4.79 is quick though, and is a key advantage over the other big hitters. The Bishop, of course, 4.31 is quicker, but it deserves to be because it has to be close to the enemies. Other than that, it is fast. 60 kilometers an hour is really good, and 14 in reverse. You do need it though, because pretty often if you want to do any damage, you have to go TD mode, especially near the end of the game, or you just won't be able to hit anything because there's no tanks to shoot at. That's about all I'm going to go into here, other than to say that the LEFH 18B2 is the premium tank. I think it's French as well, and it is way overpowered. It's a pay-to-win tank. It really shouldn't be there. It's pretty disgusting, but that's how they run the game these days. So if you want to pay some money, instead of doing, what, 1300 DPM or even 1900 DPM, you can do 2758 DPM. Not only that, but you have a 53 penetration versus 38 for these other ones and 30 for us. Yep, 53. 14 damage is not bad for a gun with 53 pen, since you'll probably be doing maximum damage most of the time. That 53 pen will probably pen most tier 4 tanks and one-shot them. I know I've been one-shot by this tank a few times. And even tier 5 tanks is going to do a lot of damage to them. Rate of fire, of course it's the best. It's the best. 8.92 seconds to reload. It is way faster rate of fire than us. But hang on, it's got better penetration. Way better penetration. That seems a bit sus. Same splash radius as us with the 1.91, which is admittedly terrible, but a slower shell velocity, so it has better chance of hitting. It's more accurate, can hit more targets than us, has way higher penetration than us, so when it hits it does heaps of damage, and that's disgusting. How you can have that you pay to win versus that, the AMX, in the same tier, I mean, how blatant can you get? The only advantage we have in our AMX over that is speed. The left is slow at 28. Other than that, it is incredible amounts better in every way. Alright, yeah. Thank you for watching my review of the AMX13AM. I hope you enjoyed it, but I know you didn't. Anyway, please give it a thumbs up anyway, and subscribe if you want to see some reviews of decent tanks as well. Thanks, have fun.